Welcome to the Republic of Me channel. My name is Ivana, and this is a place where I share my creative journey and some parts of my life living on an island in the Mediterranean. With spring already being in full swing, and days here getting quite warm, it often makes me feel as if the time is speeding up. It's like everything is kind of quickening, which is in a way strange, since the days seem to somehow blend into one another, with each new one closely resembling the one that has just passed. It has already been a year since I started making these videos, and as I look back, it is so odd to see how much the world has changed, and us with it. Things that we only used to see in dystopian future films have become reality, and for some of us, dare I say, even normal and acceptable. For me, personally, even though it doesn't always feel like that, but there was a lot of growth. In some cases through pain and heartache, and in other through doing things I never thought I would do before. Like this channel, for example. From facing talking to the camera lens, dealing with the internal self-talk of why would anybody want to hear what I have to say, to technical things like trying to figure out how to use editing software. But then there is you. As much as many of you have wrote to me how these videos have helped you, whether through a short escape into some other world, a bit of calm, or creative inspiration. You might not know that, but you have helped me as well. Through beautifully unexpected friendships, such kind comments, and simply by showing up over and over again, telling me that I'm probably doing something right. A lovely lady, her name is Kate, who has a channel called Hawthorne Cottage Craft. At the beginning of her videos, she has a quote by an Irish poet, Yeats, which says, "There are no strangers here, only friends you haven't yet met." So if you are here, and in the words of Golden Girls, thank you for being my friend. Hi, how are you? Since we last spoke, nothing and yet so much has happened. And it feels really strange because most of the time I'm spending inside the house. And yet there are bits and pieces that are happening every day and that I want to record. but I never kind of managed to sit down and put them all together on video, and then they kind of pile up, and I want to tell you everything that I did and everything that I made, and it just seems like too much of little things. So what I might do, I might break it up into 2 parts for this April and May vlog, but I think it would be more beneficial for me if I started recording more often, because that way then you could get more regular updates of what's been going on, and not much has been. As I said, it's not none of them are big, but all the little bits and pieces that kind of make up my life at the moment.
There's a lot of colors, I don't know where to go. See a lot of colors, only feeling blue. There's a lot of colors, lost within a haze. Don't rely on others to get you through the maze.
And it's like I keep on working on it, I keep on working, and nothing seems to be moving. It still looks like a chaos. And I'm kind of hoping that everything will come together at once, and that all of a sudden, like magically, it will just, everything be sorted.
Cannot take this anymore.
Alex is asking if you guys are okay to be on YouTube.
Yeah.
There are a lot of voices drowning in the sea. There's too many voices talking back at me.
We have a nest of sparrows just underneath our pergola, and that made me really happy. So they're nesting, they didn't have the babies yet. As I said, there's just so many of the little things, but the time seems different. The time seems warped somehow. And it's 1.5 months since I made a video. And it doesn't feel like that. I keep on saying, okay, next week, next week, next week, and I just never come around to it. So as I said, so maybe this is going to be a 2-part thing. But the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to take you for a short road trip with me and my family and my sister and her family. Last month we went not far from the town where I live in. We went to see some camels.
Yesterday there was sun and there was rain, beauty in the mundane. And as the light startled our eyes, we let go of disguise.
Over the past couple of months, I've been making quite a few things, but somehow most of them, as it happens, none of them are for me. Well, not none of them, but most of them are for other people. It is my father's birthday now at the end of May, and I know that he wanted hand-knitted socks. And I know he's not going to be able to wear them now in the summer. It's just way too hot here for woolen socks. But I decided to make him 3 pairs and just give it to him for his birthday, so he has when the winter comes and he doesn't have to wait for Christmas. And I just finished the last pair yesterday. One thing that I started doing, and I'm really happy with how that is coming out. For the socks, instead of making them out of just my hand spun yarn, I would spin a single of my hand spun yarn, and then I would take a strand of commercial yarn that has a little bit of nylon in it, and then I would knit them together. So let's say 2 strands of kind of 4-ply fingering yarn held together, and I use them on 2.5mm needles. And I'm still using the ones that I spoke to you in the last episode, the Socks Wonder from Addy, which are small 9-inch circulars, but one of them is longer than the other, and I'm really happy with them. I think I'm really going to stick with those. I have no problem. But when I come to the heel or to the toe, then I switch to larger ones, and I magic loop for the toe because of the decreases and the heel. So I made 3 pairs of socks for my dad. So that's one of the gifts. The other gift is not really for now. It's for August. And that is something I've been working on since the beginning of the year, really. Well, my sister-in-law, her 40th birthday is in August. And last year, she kind of like a month or so before her birthday, she hinted to me that she wanted a blanket. Now, I have politely declined at that moment. Not because I didn't want to make her a blanket, but because people who are not makers, and you will probably understand what I'm talking about, they don't necessarily understand how time-consuming these things are and how much work it takes to knit something, especially of that size, a blanket. So I have told her no in that moment, but because I know that this year is her 40th, I decided from the beginning of the year to start making a blanket for her. And it's entirely from my hand spun yarn. So I made a mosaic blanket for the first time, and came out really pretty. I'll show you now. I didn't wash it, I didn't block it, but it doesn't really matter because you're going to be able to see just the so it's a couch blanket, and I would like it to be a bit bigger. So I'm hoping, because it's in garter stitch, that once I wash it and block it, it's going to stretch a bit. The pattern is the same all over, and that after a while made it a bit boring because the pattern was the same but also the colors were the same. So the next time that I'm making a blanket like this for myself, I'm probably going to switch between different colors and make it a bit more interesting. But for now, I used, for this one, for the gray part, I blended gray Coriadel with white merino, and this kind of raspberry color is 100% merino, which was pre-dyed, and I spun it. One thing, if you have never made a mosaic blanket before, watch your tension. In the beginning, I was knitting normally as I would knit anything else, and after a couple of rounds already, I felt that it was getting tighter and tighter and tighter because you're working with slip stitches. So I had to completely changed my tension. I made it really relaxed in order not to have problem with my hands afterwards. So next time that I'm going to make anything in mosaic knitting, I'm probably going to go up and need a size or two in needles, in thickness of the needles, because I think that is going to fix the tension issues. I did fix it later, but I had to be conscious constantly how I'm knitting further. So that is going to be given to her in August, but since it's finished, I wanted to show it to you. Using the same raspberry merino fiber that I used in the mosaic blanket, I was blending on my drum carder. I was creating a new blend, mixing that raspberry merino with baby alpaca and blue-faced Leicester. Both blue-faced Leicester and baby alpaca I left as a natural color. And that was about a month ago. And as I was spinning it, this is something that, as I was spinning it, I kept on thinking every time I was sat down at my wheel, a friend of mine, which you might know, and if you don't know, you should know. She has a podcast. She has a video channel on YouTube. Her name is Amy Palco, and her channel is called Amy Palco, but her podcast is called The Meaningful Stitch, and it's a knitting podcast. This lady, watch her and you will see her energy. She's lovely. She really is. So every time I was sat down at the spinning wheel to spin that new fiber, that new blend that I made, she would come into my mind. Without a fail, I would sit down and I would start spinning and I would start thinking of Amy. I was like, okay, so something is telling me loudly, this yarn is not yours. This yarn is Amy's. I contacted her and I told her that I have a yarn that I feel that she would like and that I feel that it's hers, and if I could send it to her, and she was okay with it. But I didn't want to finish it just with one skein, because we tend to have a lot of one-offs and not necessarily know what to do with them. So I continued spinning the same yarn, knowing that it was for Amy, until I kind of had about half a kilo, 550 grams, which I thought that it was enough for her to make a project. And I sent it to her, and she said that she really liked it. So it's kind of weird when something is telling you, and we know as makers, it's not as easy to give our handmade gifts, because they're so time consuming and they take parts of us, our paintings, our knitting, our spinning. With her it was different though. I know that she will appreciate it and she would love it. And besides, something told me, this yarn is not yours, this is his. So I think this will be enough for this part one, and I'm going to leave you with that and a few weeks in making. Thank you. Bye for now.